Hey everyone, Bethany here with Singer Sewing Company, and today I'm going to teach you how to embroider on cards and cardstock. These are super cute, so let's dive right in. The first thing I did is I took a little piece of fabric that I chose that I had scraps of. I did a little pinking shears around the edge so it wouldn't fray, and I tacked it down to the front of these cards with just a touch of fabric glue. So now that my card has the fabric just barely tacked down in the corners, I am going to do a straight stitch all the way around to fully secure the fabric to the front of the cards. I am going to be using the Singer SE 9180, and as you can see here, I've already sewn this one down so you can see what it looks like. We will be sewing through the cardstock, which is very simple to do, and then what we're going to do is show you how I am actually sewing these down. So as you can see, it's just a simple straight stitch. I did extend my stitch length to 3 millimeters instead of 2.5, just to give a little more space between those holes in the card and the paper, because obviously the paper, once you put a hole in it, it doesn't go away. So as you can see, I'm using the Singer SE 9180. This is a brand new sewing and embroidery machine. So we're going to be able to do this entire project on this one machine. So now that we are getting all of the fabric sewn to the front of the card, that looks so nice. It's okay if there's a little pucker there, it's totally fine. But now that it's sewn down, I'm going to continue to do that for all of my cards before I start getting into our embroidery. So I've got several different colors. These look so cute. Again, you can pick your own type of fabric that you want to put on the front, but I thought these were very fall and perfect for my Thanksgiving table. All right, now we're going to take the machine and switch it to embroidery mode. And it is so simple. I'm just going to take off this little arm. That's where the accessory tray is. Very easy. And then I have the embroidery arm, and I'm going to slide that on and attach it until it clicks in place. You'll know when it's done clicking in place because the screen will switch into embroidery mode as you see here. And then you'll get a little pop-up to calibrate your embroidery arm. It'll zoom back and forth real quick, and then you're good. All right, so now we need to set our design for the embroidery. I'm going to do a font, and I'm going to pick a very simple one, and I'm going to type in my son's name. The font comes in 3 sizes, upper and lowercase as well, so do whatever size you want and type in your name. The next thing I'm going to do is rotate this because of the way I'm going to be hooping this, which will make sense in a minute. Once I'm done rotating the image, I'm going to select my hoop, and we're going to use the biggest hoop that comes with the machine, which is a 170 by 100 hoop. And now that I've got my design in place, I want to point out that you can curve text here if you want to get real fancy. You can adjust how close or how far apart the letters are. You can select individual letters and move them around if you need to. But once you've got your design, hit the little green check mark, and now we're ready to rock and roll. What we need to do now is go back into edit mode, because this little green arrow is going to prompt the machine that it's time to put our hoop on and get to embroidering. Obviously, we need to set up our machine for embroidery, so let's go ahead and switch out the A foot and ankle for the embroidery foot that you see here. So you're basically just going to unscrew the ankle from the post on the machine, and then you're going to reattach the embroidery foot with that same screw. You just want to make sure that when you attach the embroidery foot that you are getting it on there correctly. Definitely check your manual if you need help with this, but there, it goes right around that post, and then that top bar of the foot needs to go across the top of the needle bar so that it goes up and down with the needle. Once it's on there nice and tight, we are going to start hooping our material. And the first thing we're going to need is stabilizer. I love our multi-pack. That's great for getting started with embroidery. And in that multi-pack is a couple of pieces of what is called cutaway stabilizer. So first we're going to separate our hoop pieces, and you're going to loosen that screw a little bit. Don't completely unscrew it. And we're going to take a piece of that cutaway stabilizer. You want to use cutaway for this project, not tearaway. See how I try to tear it and it doesn't? It's a cutaway stabilizer. It'll make sense when you put it all together. We want that stabilizer to stay behind our stitches even after we're done. So you're going to place that stabilizer right on top of the outer hoop, and then you're going to line up the inner hoop and connect the two and press them together nice and snug. Make sure the corners are nice and level. And make sure your inner hoop is going the right direction with your outer hoop. There's little arrows that line up. All right, so now that we have this hooped, we need to attach our card. Obviously we can't hoop the card, so we're going to place it floating on top of the hoop. So I'm marking the center with just a little dash of a line indentation. It's going to be hard to see on camera. And I want to find that center mark of my hoop right here, and I'm going to open the card and lay it flat, and I'm turning it sideways. And I'm going to line up my little mark for the center of the card with the center of the hoop, and I'm going to use just some blue painter's tape. Don't use anything too sticky. We don't want to tear our cards, but this is going to help hold the card in place to our stabilizer so it doesn't move around while we are stitching our embroidery. So just like that. Pretty. All right, so now we're going to attach the hoop. We have this little button here on the embroidery arm, and we do want to make sure that our foot is in the up position. And we're going to carefully slide our hoop under the foot, making sure it clears. You can lift the foot a little higher if you need to, but you shouldn't have to. Just be very careful. And then this little piece on the side of the hoop is going to slide right into that embroidery arm, and it's going to be a little tight, but you need to push it in until it clicks in place. You'll know when it's locked in place. All right, so next we need to thread our machine, and I'm using a rayon thread for the embroidery. And I chose a fun green color. I love the rayon threads when doing embroidery because it's just a nice, shiny, pretty thread. It works really well with embroidery, and it's actually preferred to use with embroidery. All right, so now that it's threaded and I have my rayon bobbin in place already, we are going to get ready to start stitching out. This is where the fun begins. So we're going to go into edit mode and click the little check mark, and it's going to position it. It's going to tell, I'm going to hit play, and it's going to tell me my foot is up. I'm going to lower the foot, but before I hit play, I'm going to hit the little scissors. This just trims that top thread and brings it to the back, and then you hit play and you let your embroidery go. I did make sure that my card was, kind of positioned where it's laying as flat as possible for the first few stitches, and then once it gets going, you can just sit back and watch it do its magic. If you need to adjust the speed on your embroidery, you can. I do not recommend going as fast as it possibly can, especially through paper. So I kind of have it in the middle of the speed. You just adjust the speed control to do that. And then we get to watch it stitch out beautiful letters right through our fabric, our cardstock, and our stabilizer. These are going to be so cute. I actually think these are going to be perfect on my Thanksgiving table at each place setting. And what I think is really sweet is I can write a little note to each one of my family members, just saying what I'm thankful for and why I love them so much. And then they have that to take home with them after our Thanksgiving dinner. All right, so now that my embroidery is done, it's going to pop up and let me know. And I can now remove the hoop. First thing I need to do is raise the presser foot, press the little button on the left of the embroidery arm, and slowly and carefully pull the hoop towards me. I want to make sure it clears the presser foot, and my embroidery is done. That looks so good. So now let's take it out of the hoop. You want to loosen the screw on the side of the hoop that was tightened earlier. This will help separate the outside and inside pieces of the hoop. And just carefully remove that inside piece. And we're going to take off the tape very carefully off of our card, and you're going to be left with a big piece of cutaway stabilizer, on the back of the card. So obviously we need to cut it away. So carefully with some scissors, cut away the excess stabilizer that we don't need. Just be sure you don't cut your card because that would not be fun after doing all of this beautiful work. And you just need to trim around the stitches for the embroidery. Now that we're done with this, if you want to take another piece of fabric and put it on the back of that to kind of give it a nice clean finish, you absolutely can. You can just use a little fabric glue to stick it down, and it just gives it a really nice finish on the inside so you don't see the back side of the stitches. Just like this. Now that I've finished these two, I'm going to repeat these steps and do a few more in different colors for the rest of my family members so they each have one at their place setting at our dinner table. All right, so now that my last card is done, I can take it off the hoop in the machine and get all of them together to write my sweet thankfulness notes to each of them because I love them all so much. But didn't these turn out so cute? I hope you give this project a try and definitely check out our brand new Singer SE9180 sewing and embroidery machine to do this project.